Hello everyone, welcome to MedTech World, and today I'm with Japp. He is from Tramway Ventures. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's start by giving a bit of context. What's Tramway Ventures doing in the MedTech and healthcare space?
Sure. We're a venture capital group. We're based in New Mexico. We have two offices, one in Santa Fe and one in Albuquerque. And we invest across the spectrum in medtech, biotech, health tech, primarily focused on New Mexico.
What motivates you in your personal career to jump into supporting medtech startups?
That's a great question. I just love seeing this technology come to life. It has tremendous life-transforming potential, really affect people's lives, and it's an industry I'm really proud to work in.
In the current pipeline of Tramway Ventures, what do you have? Your eyes are on what type of technologies? What are the projects that at the moment are looking to succeed?
We're seeing a lot of interesting technology. Of course, AI. You can't look at a pitch deck now without seeing something about AI. But what we really love is the convergence of technology. So when we see a convergence of medtech or biotech or AI, something a bit different and something we think will be really transformative, that's what we're really interested in.
Yeah, we've been talking along these 2 days with medtech innovators, with investors, service providers, and one of the questions was patient as the center at the end of the day, as the end goal, right?
Yeah.
So what do you see for a medtech company who is looking to get funding as a red flag and a green flag, let's say?
Right. It's another great question. As a venture firm, we also look to, of course, what is the exit potential? And, let's face it, there are very few IPOs in the medtech world, or for that matter, the biotech world. So we look to also what strategics might be interested in. What does their pipeline look like? How do we help them fulfill their mission? And it's one thing that I think we bring to the picture, I think, as a venture investor. Personally, I spent 35 years in the medtech world on that side of the coin. I worked at many big corporate companies, all kinds of different roles. I spent a lot of time in M&A. So I think one thing we try and do is help coach those companies and what those strategics might be looking for. How do we help them fulfill their goals and bring their products to life?
Yeah, indeed. Is there any advice that you would like to give to companies in different stages that are looking to get funded? How they can convince investors?
Sure. First of all, be very concise. We need to understand what is the technology, we need to understand the commercial plan, and we need to understand what kind of unmet need are you fulfilling. Often, especially for us in New Mexico, we have two big national labs, Sandia and Los Alamos, and we see a lot of very early stage technology, and often it's technology looking for an application. And a lot of the teams we speak with is often a technology founder. And that founder often may not have a good connection into the real medtech world, but they might have some idea that, I can apply this technology here or there. So what we look for is, have you really done your homework? Have you looked at the right application for that technology? Have you spoken to clinicians about what is keeping them up at night? How could this technology be leveraged into the real world? And again, our big mission is to generate a good return for our investors. What's the business plan behind what you're doing?
What are one of the things that you think a startup, a medtech startup, is not able to succeed?
Well, it depends on the company. There's so many, but again, what we often see is an issue with the team. We look very closely at the team the startup has put together, and it has to be the right people at the right time at the right place. So for example, in a very early stage startup, having a very technical founder, which we see very often, is great. But as they start to build, they'll need someone who understands how to commercialize the product. So it may be a completely different CEO. And often we'll see a CEO that doesn't really understand that difference, and they want to keep control of their company. The most successful groups that we see are where they have enough self-awareness to say, hey, I might be the technology guru, I started the company, but I know I need to bring in external talent to carry that company forward.
Now, looking at 2026, new trends, you have the possibility to work with different type of technologies and companies. What do you see as a trend in 2026?
Well, definitely the application of AI, and AI has been around now for quite a few years. But what I'm seeing here at AdvaMed MedTech is more of a consolidation and more specific application of AI. So being able to use it in a practical sense, taking cost out of the healthcare system is a big deal. I think that's becoming more important. I think putting it towards a more defined application and picking a specific use for that AI. And also proof. I think a lot of AI has been fairly early in its adoption, and I think what we're hearing now is, people want to see proof that it actually does what it is set out to do.
We had a couple of femtech companies that came to our booth today, and we were discussing that investors are slowly, or actually pushing harder on this type of technologies. Why, from an investor perspective, do you think this shift is happening?
Yeah, again, I think it depends on the application. I think if we see a good business plan behind it, and it makes sense and it solves a clinical issue, then it makes sense to pursue.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for being with us, Chris, and we hope to see you in the MedTech world space.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.